What's going on, Clipper fans? It's Jonathan Timm back here with another preseason video, and it's time to unveil the new Clipper pitching coach. He recently played his college days at Crown College and has gotten the promotion to be a head assistant pitching coach for Crown College as well, and he'll look to bring his knowledge and expertise to Muskegon this summer. And I hear he likes to fish too, and that's great because we're at beautiful Lake Michigan. And here is Tristan Camp. And Tristan, thank you for taking the time today. Congrats on the winning streak right now for Crown. I saw you guys got your Upper Midwest Athletic Conference play started off on the right foot.
Yeah, absolutely. A pleasure to be here. We had a rough first weekend, but we bounced back this past weekend and looking to continue that up in Wisconsin Superior this week.
Now, what's that been like? Because you played for the team back in 2024 and a quick turnaround on a dime. Here you are, still wearing the uniform, but now directing the traffic for your squad. What's that been like?
Yeah, it's definitely been a weird transition, been different. Going from being a teammate with all these guys and being their friends to now being that quote unquote coach and authoritative figure. It's been definitely different. Been having to adjust. Even when we're playing other teams, opposing players still want to talk to me like I'm a player again. So it's just been different. It's been weird, but I'm adapting to it really well. Feels like yesterday it was August and we were just starting fall ball, and now we're right in the middle of our season, coming into the nitty gritty time of our conference play with Wisconsin Superior this week and then Bethany Lutheran next week.
Now, I'm a college athlete myself, and we have coaches within the organization who were once my teammates. Does that brotherhood ever go away now that even though you're a coach?
No, I don't think it does. I still am very close with all these guys. The only difference is now just not hanging out with them. In your downtime, you're more just in your office grinding, but the brotherhood definitely doesn't go away. We still do some little antics that we used to do when I was a player too. So definitely does not.
Now, what made you consider coaching? Now, obviously, a game can be hard to let go, but if you have knowledge and expertise, it can take you somewhere. So, when was that calling that you wanted to take this game to the next level and start doing the instructing?
Yeah, I think it was when I was wrapping up my undergraduate studies at Mars Hill University. I kind of had a reflection. My original path was to go to athletic training school. But then throughout my playing days and, working with a guy named Andrew Schwab, who gave me the opportunity to help him with other lessons, and he would train me on the side as well. That was kind of when it all shifted for me of I think this is the route I want to go instead. And then so when I talked to Coach Sedbrook over the summer prior to me coming to Crown for about an hour and a half phone call, he told me I could stay on as the GA. And then when the pitching coach job opened up because of the departure of our previous pitching coach, I put my name in for it. And thankfully, he thought I was a good fit. So that's really when the transition started to happen of, I don't think I really want to do the athletic training. I think I more so want to be a coach at the college level and see where it takes me.
And, in your bio on crown.com, it mentions you're pursuing your master's. How's that been, balancing coaching with the education?
Yeah, it's very difficult. As a player last year doing it, it was way easier. I had all the free time in the world, and now between recruiting and practice planning and going over strategies and scouting, it's definitely more difficult. It's more me just doing stuff last minute while doing my master's degree, which isn't always the best, but I get it done.
Now let's talk about Muskegon Clipper baseball specifically. How'd you land the position? Who got in contact with you? How did it happen? And, what was your first introduction to Muskegon Clipper baseball?
Yeah, so originally I saw the job posting on, I believe it was ABCA, applied for it, sent in all my information, then Walt emailed me back pretty quickly. It was less than 24 hours, I believe, that I heard back from him. Got to talk with those two, and then got on a phone call with Logan and B-Dub. And then, from there, they grilled me for what felt like forever, asking me questions and things like that. And then, thankfully, they thought I was the right fit. So that's kind of how it all happened. Super excited for it. My options basically were to stay around the, Twin City area and coach a, either a travel team or coach a Legion baseball team because that's still big here in Minnesota. That's not really what I'm wanting to do. So finding that college summer experience was really key for me. And then with the opportunity here, I just felt like it was the right fit and the right calling for me.
Well, as a traveling member of the team, I tell you, the grilling from Coach Fleener and Coach Beata will never stop, especially on those 8-hour bus rides that the Southern Ohio teams have to offer this summer. Have you ever considered playing summer baseball back in your collegiate days, or what's your familiarity with that?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with it. I've played in 2 different leagues while I was a player. My freshman year as a college athlete was the COVID year. So everything got shut down that year, so we didn't have anything for the summer. But I played in the Ohio Valley League as a sophomore over for the Fulton Railroaders. And then when I was out at Mars Hill, I had the opportunity to play in the Coastal Plain League for the Forest City Owls. So I'm very familiar with it. With Forest City, we had a lot of long bus trips. So that was really the difference for me was from the Ohio Valley League. Most of our trips were small unless we were going over to Nashville and playing full count rhythm over there. But in the Coastal Plains, man, it was a lot of travel all over the place. Our longest trip was to Macon, Georgia to play the Macon Bacon. You build a lot of camaraderie and friendship on those bus trips, man. And so that's what I'm going to miss is the player side of it. And now being a coach, just having to talk about the games and kind of hash out, what's our strategy moving forward. But those bus trips are sacred.
Now, talk to me about the specific duties related to your job this summer. Now, pitching is something that in baseball has been constantly evolving. I mean, with the analytics age ramping things up and all the technology that's been innovated. And we had former Clipper Brandon Shire, who's pitching at Cincinnati, on the podcast talking about all of his resources. How has that side of the game touched you, and what is your specialty in pitching?
Yeah, technology in the game of baseball is definitely always evolving, like you mentioned. With my experience with it all, I've had experience with Rapsodo, with TrackMan, Flight Scope. I've seen it all. I don't necessarily would say I'm an expert in any of them. That's the one thing that I need to get better with. But for the summer specifically, we've talked about just doing the pitching side of things and helping out with substitutions, pitch calling, all those things. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to take each guy and where they're from and what they are doing and also learn from them, and then also bring in my own knowledge and experience. And, my specialty was I was a low arm slot guy. So, creating that tension in the body and all those things that go into that lower arm slot kind of scenario. But at the same time, I want to learn more about, how other programs are going about their things with these players that will have, and just incorporating and understanding, hey, what works for them, what doesn't work for them. That's the one thing that I know is different about me compared to some other pitching coaches is that I'm pretty laid back. And, if something works for you, I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I want the guys to go out there and be themselves and, be who they are and stay true to who they are and their things that they do.
These last couple of years, the Clippers have been blessed with a lot of arm talents, but one of these struggles, and I'm sure you can attest to this as a former summer collegiate league player, one of the struggles of maintaining a roster all summer is, in fact, the depth at the pitching core, whether guys coming from certain programs can only throw a certain amount of pitches or lingering pain, whatever the case may be. How do you expect to handle, some of those experiences a lot of times, which are unwarranted and, accidents happen? What are your thoughts going into all of that?
Yeah. Balancing all that's going to be different and unique, getting in touch with these guys' own pitching coaches or head coaches that sent them here with the understanding of, hey, this is our limit. It's about knowing when and where we can use certain guys. For example, if we have a guy on the mound that we know can only throw 25 innings, we got to be very selective with those 25 innings that we have of him. The injury side of it, hopefully nothing like that takes place. It's the unfortunate side with being a pitcher. You're always risking that every time you go out there, more so than a position player. So it's just understanding that, hey, things may happen, and not really pointing blame on. It's all about, balancing when and where we can use certain guys.
Well, that's some great stuff right there, Tristan. And we're almost finished up with our talk here today, but I got one final question for you. Now, we're both from the west side of Lake Michigan. For me, a little bit closer, narrowing Green Bay. But what are you most excited about for this upcoming summer? A new area for you and a home for 2 months in what some describe as Michigan's best kept secret in the city of Muskegon. I guess all in all, what are you most excited about for the 2025 season?
Yeah, I'm just excited for a different experience, to be honest with you. I've never been up near Michigan. Most of my travel was East Coast, so I've never really been, north outside of the state of Minnesota where I am now. So I'm just thankful for that different experience over there in Michigan. I'm excited to begin my college coaching summer career, and so I'm just excited for that whole experience and getting to meet different players from all over. The conversations I've had with Coach Fleener and Coach B-Dub have been great. Just learning from them is going to be amazing. B-Dub being who he is and all the knowledge that he has, I want to pick his brain a little bit and just hear how he does things and continues to evolve within the game. So I would just say, to sum it up, it's mostly just the experience that I'm most excited for, man. Something new, something different, and I'm looking to just have a good time and enjoy it and win some ball games.
Will the tackle box and rods make an appearance as well? Is that a non-negotiable with you traveling?
We'll see. I'll have to see if I have room for it. Driving the truck over, I'll probably have room. We'll see if they come or not, though.
Alrighty, well, that was Tristan Camp spending time with us today. Thank you, Tristan, for joining this preseason interview, and we look forward to meeting you in Muskegon this June.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course, and Clipper fans, be sure to follow social media for the Clippers updates, schedules, roster moves, and more. In fact, we'll have another episode of the Muskegon Clippers Extra Podcast this upcoming week. But for now, thank you all for tuning into this preseason interview. And as always, we will see you next time.